joining us at the first Forum on Global Resilience hosted by the Adrienne Arsht Rockefeller Foundation Resilience Center. And we are here today to accelerate solutions to climate impacts. Floods, fires, drought, hurricanes, and in particular extreme heat, which is killing more people than any other climate-driven hazard. And in fact, killing more people than all of the other hazards combined. And the beauty of this agenda is that there are solutions, and we are advancing those solutions with our partners. And today is about really understanding what those interventions, approaches, policies, financing strategies, what they are, where they are best applied, and how do we accelerate to deepen our impact around the world and to protect people from what we know is coming, which is more temperatures rising, and the impacts on our daily lives are immense. And of course, climate impacts are not hitting people the same way. Disproportionately, people are impacted that are on the lower end of the economic ladder, live in places without the resources to protect them, and that have underlying health conditions. And so today we focus on the most vulnerable and about action that is accelerated and measurable and inspiring above all else.
We've looked at the economic impacts of extreme heat, considering what it does to labour productivity, considering what it does to access to services, assets, health outcomes, and how these are distributed unevenly across the population. We find, just looking at labour productivity alone, that these impacts are very, very large. Bigger in the US than those of the record hurricane season, 2021, even in a normal year. Furthermore, we find that these impacts are distributed unevenly. We look at wages for different populations across the country, different occupations, and different racial groups. And we find that the impacts are concentrated in the south and east, as you would expect, amongst low-income workers who are disproportionately outdoors and in labour-intensive sectors. And also
Hi, my name is Eleni Mirivili. I'm the Chief Heat Officer for the City of Athens and the former Deputy Mayor for the same city. I would like to talk about categorizing and naming heat waves because we have developed in the Arsht Rock Resilience Center, together with the scientists panel, a specific methodology for categorizing and naming heat waves. Heat waves are not categorized because they're very idiosyncratic phenomena, weather phenomena. They are very specific on their impacts on the human body, on when and where they happen. So this categorization, which is going to be piloted in Athens, in Seville, and 4 cities in the United States, have taken the health impact and put it together with the meteorological data to figure out when do heat waves are more dangerous and more risky for people's health. So this is like a real game changer because it's really important for policymakers to figure out when to do what to save lives.
So in Miami Beach, we are seeing a lot of issues when it comes to flooding, and we also see issues when it comes to are experiencing issues with urban heat. That as time goes on and our climate changes, temperatures are beginning to rise. So addressing urban heat is one of our goals. We also see impacts when it comes to our beaches. As the climate changes, storms are actually a lot stronger, and so when they come across our city, we see that our beaches are more susceptible through erosion because storm surge is a lot stronger. So on the local population, we know that it really becomes more of like a health issue. Going back to what I said about urban heat, we do see that as the temperature rises, we need to address like issues of how do we protect our residents and visitors when it gets extremely hot. And so we actually established a heat season here in the city, actually in the county. So for May 1st, starting May 1st, we have about a 6-month period that's considered to be like a heat season, kind of like you have a hurricane season. And so what that does is we're working with the county to engage the population and to let them know, hey, you know, it's going to be extremely hot over the summer. Make sure that you're prepared. Unfortunately, you know, as it gets hotter, we also tend to use more air conditioner. So air conditioning leads to more emissions, and that's actually one of our biggest contributors of emissions in at least Miami Beach. 70% of our emissions come from the built environment, so through electrical use. And so we have a climate action plan in place where we're looking at where all of our emissions are coming from, and we're setting out a series of plans and actions to help us with reducing those numbers over the next few years.
So in Miami, we've always known heat. Many people move here because of our tropical environment. But the days of high heat combined with humidity are getting more frequent and getting more extreme. And so we heard it from our communities. We did a series of focus groups and surveys in the lowest income communities of Miami-Dade County and asked them what their biggest concern was related to climate change. And extreme heat was the top of their list. You know, in Miami, we're known internationally for our risks to sea level rise and flood risk and to hurricanes. But extreme heat was not something that we had been focused on. Like many cities, it has been the silent killer, killing more people every year than any of those other climate hazards combined. And so now it was the time we looked at the data, we looked at where those expected temperatures are going over time, and saw that we need to actually put a very strong lens on extreme heat and come up with solutions across the board. Both how do we mitigate the urban heat islands and how do we manage the heat that's here already. So on the urban heat island, our goal is to get to a 30% tree canopy county-wide. We're now at an average of 20%. And so we're focusing our tree planting and tree giveaway efforts in those neighborhoods with the highest surface temperatures and the least tree canopy, that also tend to be the same neighborhoods that have lower income populations. And so it's critical that we not only plant in the right-of-way and our parks, but we give them trees, because 80% of our land is privately owned. And so we need people to learn how to plant and take care of trees here. Trees that will survive a hurricane, trees that may provide fruit for their families. So we've just gave away thousands of trees over the last and planted over the last few months, and we plan to both plant and give away over 10,000 trees just this summer.